Oh, hey everyone, Lash Luke here. Sorry if I sound a little pissed, it's just because life fucking sucks! You know, life really sucks, man. Like, I had a whole sketch prepared, I had this whole big grand spectacle prepared and everything. I was going to have Andrew up here and torment me, and then I was going to have Shadow Lash and my alter ego up here. But he's kind of in a bit of a tangent right now because he's in my body at the moment and he's sort of like giving his rage as well through me as well. So yeah, we're both pretty pissed here because we had this whole sketch planned out, and then we find out that not only has Songetsu had copyright strikes for showing images, but we've also had Tekken 101 do that. It's like, I just don't get the system, guys. What is the system anymore? It's like, we can't show images. We can't get people excited about our manga because then people won't buy it. That is like bullshit. I have watched Tekken and Songetsu's videos of Bleach of the final arc, and I've still bought the volumes and I've still loved it, and I'm buying the volumes of The Promised Neverland, and I will prove it in the next review. I'll have them here. I'll have them on this shelf here, and I'll prove it. If they want proof that we're not infringing on copyright, if they want actual proof that we've actually bought the material, I'll bring it here. So I wish we had the death note so that we could actually get people to actually just get this whole system taken care of, and then we can actually kill them for even coming up with this system. Like, oh, we'll show images, we're gonna get a copyright strike, but yeah, you know, it comes back to biting them in the arse eventually, because I remember one time that the BBC actually copyright striked their own videos. I'm not even kidding like that. The BBC's from the YouTube system copyright their own videos, so that of the 12th Doctor's regeneration into the 13th Doctor. That is just hilarious, but seriously, that just pisses me off. So now I'm having to do the panelist reviews, but hopefully I can get through this alright, and I'm sorry if I've gone off on a tangent here, but yeah, let's just get into the review. Hey everyone, Lash Luke here, and welcome to The Promised Neverland chapter 101. I know I want to make 101 Dalmatians joke here, but I'm not doing that. Anyway, the chapter of this title is called Come and Then. Is that noise upstairs what it is? Come and then what? 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 Alright, so the chapter starts off with a little bit back in time. We get a little bit of a flashback of Emma, who reinstates that their goal is to be in a world where they're not hunted anymore, and to go into the human world and bring the kids with them. And to do that, Emma, Ray, Don Gilda, Violet and Sakura to find the walls, find the 7 walls, and meet the Demon King and make a new promise. Although, as I've stated before in previous chapters, in previous reviews on previous videos on this series, that's going to be a very difficult task, Emma, because like Musica and Songju said, they've made an enemy out of the demon god for actually escaping and actually going along with this plan to actually break this promise and get all the kids into human world. And like I said, they might not actually be welcome with open arms once they get into human world. It might be a case of they'll get there. They're obviously going to get there, because that's one of the big mysteries that we need to find out about how the human world has actually functioned, and whether or not they actually know, whether the humans in human world actually know about these kids, or whether it's been kept a secret from them, just as much as the kids in the demon world have from the rest of the world. Whether the humans that have functioned in the human world don't actually know of what's actually going on, and if Peter Rafari is actually the head of a sort of like a world government, kind of like in One Piece, how they're like suppressing information from the people, and it's actually possible that the humans don't actually know about these kids, and it might actually be a case of like, oh, they don't know about them, so they're not going to help them, and they might be skeptical about them if they go up to somebody and tell them, or they might inadvertently tell someone who's related to Peter Rafari. So that's going to be a big question of when they actually get into human world, how it's actually going to function. So they say that the first objective is to go to the location Kutafadilia. I can't never pronounce it right. I'm never going to be able to pronounce that name because I've got it on my laptop here and I'm looking at it and I still can't pronounce it, and I would show you, but like I said, we're the big bad evil corporation. We're basically like the kids in the Promised Neverland. Like we want to do something, but the world, or in this case YouTube, is making it impossible for us to actually do something. Actually show our love for this series by giving samples, not actually giving the whole chapter, but just giving samples of, and getting people to go and actually read this series. And I guarantee that when the anime comes out, they're going to have no problem with that, because there's going to be anime, it's going to be even popular, people are going to be buying the manga anyway. I know I keep on writing about this, but it's a serious topic that we really need to address, the fact that if people can't actually prove their statements when actually reviewing a series, what's the point of reviews then? And if there's no reviews, then people are not going to be buying their series. And then without reviews and without actually demonstrating or showing images or clips from the actual series that is being reviewed, then it's probably all going to go to shambles. But YouTube obviously doesn't see that. They see it as, oh, they're showing one clip, but without actually looking at the whole review. I know that there's like 60 hours of content uploaded a minute, but you have to understand that people are just showing reviews. Like, a review is not a it's not a reaction. In a sense it is a reaction, but a review is not a reaction of just sitting down, looking at the screen, having it on screen like other series. I am more surprised that people like Fine Brothers can get away with it. Like, people could actually sue the Fine Brothers for showing clips of their videos if they actually wanted to, but no, the Fine Brothers have to do exactly that. They have to sue people for actually taking the name React. And I know that's a long dead issue, but you have to understand that if the Fine Brothers can react to get away with it, why can't we react or review and be punished for it? But anyway, they state that the location from the pen is D528143, and it's 52 days later, which when I first read that, I actually thought it said 52 weeks. I didn't pay attention to as much, so I was like, 52 weeks? Wait, they spent a year travelling? But no, it actually does say 52 days later. That was just me being an idiot. But that would have actually been quite hilarious if it actually did take them 52 weeks. Although it might have actually just pissed them off just as much as it would have pissed off the audience. We get the title page, which states that they're in Kuta Devalia, and it states the quest for the Seven Walls, which I think is the actual name of this arc that they're going on with, because it was like thrown on the title page in big black letters, and we see that they've arrived in like the Colosseum Roman area, and it's pretty cool. I really like. I know I haven't really talked about it in previous videos, but I really like the artwork and how much detail is actually put into the little, not just the background and the characters, but just the little details, like the little details on the rocks and how they differentiate from each other, so that it gives a sense of different feel and style to every single panel that we actually see in this series, which is pretty good and it's very interesting. It's not just all the same thing, and it's not just all black, all white, like what Kubo did. Even though I love Bleach, that was one of the big criticisms of Kubo, like he didn't put any effort into the background, which worked for his series because it was like more of an action series, but for this series that's more adventure and adventure and mystery. It needs to be like putting little Easter eggs and little tapestries of information, like what we saw last chapter, like when I stated that that girl that was in Phil's orphanage looked very similar to Isabella, and it's kind of like a little Easter egg that maybe she might be related to Isabella, and maybe she's not. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up, that the artwork I think in this series is phenomenal. Is it my favourite? No. That honour goes to Dr. Stone, particularly an image where in a chapter that I can't remember the actual number of the chapter, but it was when Senku and Krone are first making electricity, and we have just this like black background. I know I criticised the black background, but this actually worked because black background, I just like had this like sort of 3D effect on Chrome and Senku, and it was just like this breathtaking awe of visuals. That is, in terms of like the big three that I'm reading at the moment, that has got the most outstanding artwork, Dr. Stone, which makes sense because the artist Bocci, he did another series called Senku Rock. I think that's the name of it. I could be wrong, but yeah, it's something like that. And that series has phenomenal artwork. I haven't read it yet, and I'm going to be reading it. But yeah, I still like the art in The Promised Neverland, and I like the details that are being put in, but I don't like it as much as Dr. Stone's. I feel like that's a standard that every shonen series from now on has to meet in terms of being published in Weekly Shonen Jump. They have to reach the artwork of Dr. Stone because it's just phenomenal artwork. Anybody who's read Dr. Stone will instantly know what I'm talking about here. So anyway, Emma is flabbergasted that they are actually in ancient ruins, and we cut back to see Ray and a couple of the orphans, or I really shouldn't call them orphans because they're not really orphans, escapees from the farms, actually reading the books, and they're like, look Ray, it's here, and then we see Ray recounting a riddle that came up, which states, hang on a minute, which states, there lies a dragon upon Kutavela, and nothing is hidden from its eye. People from everywhere are drawn to Kutala, for they all desire this eye. Kutavalia is then the city of this dragon. This is from that old book, which just adds again to the mystery of this like city that they've actually stumbled upon. There's like this ancient lost city, which if this was in One Piece, I think this might be the equivalent to Raftel and finding in One Piece like this lost civilization that they've stumbled upon. But yeah, this is really interesting, and it's making me curious about what this dragon of Kutavela actually is. Like I said, I can't pronounce this name, so I'm going to be butchering it completely. I apologise guys, but there's nothing I can do about that. My dyslexia just keeps seeping through, but I'm trying my best to pronounce it, and like I said, it just reeks of mystery. Like, is this dragon actually the city itself? And we may get an answer to that in later on in the chapter, but we'll just have to keep pressing on. So anyway, Don looks a bit shaken after Ray finishes off telling this riddle, and he's like, I wonder if there's a dragon here, like for real. And I'm just thinking like, oh Don, there's far worse things that you have to worry about than a dragon that could breathe fire on you. At least it's not a demon that can actually strike you super quick and without a words of notice. I'm of course referring to the fight with Lewis, which again, I have stated before, and I'll say again, that is one of my top 3 favourite fights in the whole of anime and manga. Right behind Ichibei versus Yuha from Bleach, and Father versus everyone from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. I feel like that fight with Lewis really just demonstrates what type of challenges we're going to have to be facing later on in the series. And there's actually another Fullmetal Alchemist reference coming up in this chapter, which I'm very excited about, because that is one of my favourite animes. I haven't read the manga. I did have the manga, but certain situations had me selling it, and that was one of the biggest mistakes of my life. I will say that. Hopefully I'll be able to read it and get a different insight into the story, which again is what I love about anime and manga, is that you can reading a story is different from actually seeing a story, and you get further, and you get further immersion into the world and just how fascinating it can be. And I will be doing comparisons when the anime comes out, which I'm praying that it comes out on my birthday. There won't be a video on my birthday, but if it does come out on my birthday, I will be watching it, and then I will be taking notes about what's different from the anime episode to like the first chapter, because I'm guaranteeing the first anime episode is going to focus strictly on the first chapter of The Promised Neverland, because I feel like having just that one single chapter will get people like more itching to come back and see it more. And I'm really looking forward to all the reactions that people are going to be having on that episode, because when that twist at the end comes, people are going to be freaking out about it, and I cannot wait to see the looks on their faces. I'm going to be smiling because I knew that this was coming, and I can guarantee it's just going to be so beautiful. Anyway, we get Gilda brushing off Don's statement by saying, that's silly, it has to be another riddle. But then she says, is what I wanted to say, but I just don't know anymore. The demons are real after all. And it's interesting here because Gilda starts referring to them as demons, i.e. in quotations, because it does actually have it in quotations here, like whenever the adults have mentioned that demons, and even when Songju, a demon himself, actually said, yeah, we used to be demons. It gets me thinking, like, again, are these demons actual demons that actually came about through like a ritual's mean, which I feel like that's going to be completely thrown out the window. I don't feel that's true. I feel like I'm still by the fact that the demons are an evolution of humanity. Like, they mutated, like they're not demons, they're actually mutants that mutated because of something that happened 1,000 years ago when the promise was, when the wars were getting out. I feel like the humans were actually responsible for the demons or mutants or whatever you want to call them creation in the first place, and it kind of backfired on them. Sort of like how in the recent Planet of the Apes movies, how the humans were actually responsible for the development of the apes, and it sort of like backfired on them. I feel like this is sort of like how it's gonna go down, and I'm really more confident than ever about that theory. Anyway, Violet goes on to say that we can be sure of one thing at least. So far, there is no dragon to be seen. I don't know, there might be one, Violet, so you've got to keep your guard up because you don't know what this area is capable of. But anyway, we'll give you the benefit of the doubt. North City for that matter. And Saka concurs, saying, right, just this wasteland of stone, abandoned ruins crumbling into dust. Which again shows just how much of a mystery the series and the world actually is, because they're actually from what I've seen here, it looks like they're being a bit. I feel like this is a bit of a criticism, like they're being completely. They're being a bit chilled in this situation, because even though, yes, it does look like that, what they've stated, it's still a very unknown territory and you're in demon land, so anything could pop out at the moment. There could be a demon that will just pop up out of the ground. Perfect example of this is when Ichigo and his group went to save Orihime in Wakamundo. They entered what was essentially a demon territory, and they had no idea what was going to go on. And sure enough, a sand hollow popped out of the ground, and along with Nell and her group, they popped out of the ground, and it was sort of like a big, like, oh my god, there was actually something here. So yeah, you guys better be on your guard, because you don't know what is capable of in this world. But anyway, Don goes on to question, like, if these were ruins, what was here in the first place? And then we cut over to see Emma getting distracted by an arrow, which looks very similar to the arrow that Uryu fired at Yuha in the final battle of Bleach. Oh my god, it makes so much sense now. This is actually Wakamundo, and the arrow that shot Yuha went into the dimension, the shadow dimension, and traveled through into the hollow, into Wakamundo. That's been reincarnated as this demon lad, and it's sort of like scarved on this tree stump, this ruin, this rock thing, whatever it is. And Emma has sort of found it, and she's gonna get the powers of a Quincy. That would be awesome! Nah, I'm just kidding. But it looks very similar to that arrow that Uryu fired, like that still silver arrow. And I just find that hilarious. Like, actually, I want to see that fan fiction now. That this arrow image that looks similar to the arrow that Uryu fired at Yuha. I want to see someone create that fan fiction that I've just come up with, because I want to find out Emma as a Quincy. Somebody actually draw that. Please, somebody draw that. Emma as a Quincy in Bleach. But anyway, Ray tells them all to focus, and obviously he's telling me to focus now because I'm going off on a tangent here. But anyway, he tells them to focus. The key is neither the city nor the dragon, it's the dragon's eye, which again goes back to the point that you just said, like the eye is sort of ever watchful. It's watching all over this land. And Don further goes on to say, seek for night and day in the eyes of the dragon of Kutavidelia. And like I said, it's really interesting, and it just adds more to the mystery, which I love about a series, like mystery that just keeps building up and up and up, like the Promised Neverland. There have been chapters where that hasn't happened, and this series and this chapter hasn't done that as much as the last chapter with Phil and Andrew, about what Andrew's going to be doing to Phil, which I'm more interested in. But here there is a lot of mystery, and there's a lot of dialogue, and it's very fascinating. But it's not as fascinating as last chapter when we got to see Phil after so long, because it was pretty much over a year. It was it was pretty much right around the time when my reviews stopped the first time, and I had to delete them all, which is what happened. Like, I got copyright strikes. That's what happened, guys, why I stopped for a really long time, because I got copyright strikes twice on 2 of my videos. It was chapters 36, 37 when they were actually doing the escape, and I feel like looking back on them, yeah, there really was much more of the panels put in than I actually really thought I should have put in. So it was fair that they did it that time, and that's why I'm doing it this way so that it doesn't happen again. And I feel like I've gone into the pan where I'm doing that, where I feel like I've grown much more confident of being on screen and talking to you guys and reviewing stuff after such a long absence, and after everything last year just felt shit for me, basically. I'm sorry to go off on one here, but it needs to be said that everything just felt shit for me. I nearly lost everything, but now I'm back at home, back at my parents' house, doing what I love doing, and yeah, we're doing this. So yeah, it goes back to what Ray was saying, and I find that really interesting. I'm looking forward to what's going to be found out as we go through the chapter. So anyway, as the group is going on, I'm talking and discussing the various possibilities about the eye. We see Emma actually touch where the arrow actually was, and it actually morphs into the eye. And sure enough, we get an image of Emma in this sort of like void sort of like area, like this void water area with a dragon underneath her, and it's a really cool design, guys. It's a really cool design. It's very much like it's a proper dragon, like serpent-like features with like a fiery plant-like tail, which may be a key to actually the Goompa, the process of actually stabbing someone in the heart, and actually the demons using that for their food and supplies and whatnot from the humans. And we see the eye sort of like morph, and the eye on the dragon sort of like reminds me of Bion's eye. Like he had the one eye that was sort of like opening up between his forehead, and it sort of like reminds me of that. But then it sort of like swirls into a new design which resembles a sort of like I don't know what it resembles. It's very undescribable. I would put an image up here, like I said, but obviously copyright, so we're gonna have to you guys are gonna have to go and see the image for yourself. But it looks pretty cool, and we see that Emma's going through some sort of like flashbacks, like she's seen the history of the demons, like when they were actually at this place and praying, and she sees the promise being situated, and she's getting freaked out about it. And then we see that she's going, what's happening, and she's like, and we see this image of this creature here. It's like, you're seeing the past, yes. So we see this creature, which again, that this whole area that Emma's in, it sort of like reminds me, like I said, I was going to go back to the Full Metal Alchemist reference. It sort of like reminds me of the area where after they've done transmutation, they go and see truth, or the god that was presented in this world. And sure enough, this image here of this creature with the dragon behind it, it sort of like reminds me of God, and like the dragon's the gate, sort of like the mysterious gate portal thing, and it's really imposing and very friendly. It's really cool, and this creature is sort of humanoid, demon-like. It's got like horns, and it's got like sort of like an armored mask thing with an eye, with the eye in the center. And it's really cool, and I'm really hoping that we find out more about this image and whether or not this is actually the demon god as we go through later on in the series. So anyway, Emma sees like the creature that's in this world, in this like purgatory that she's in, and she's like, is that a child? A demon child? No way. And we get a better image of the actual being that's being seen here. Again, it has the horns growing out of it, and it has kind of like a mask type thing, because we see it from different perspectives. You may think it's like its full face from one image, but then in another image you see like it can actually be taken off, like the thing that's over its face, it can actually be taken off. So we don't know what's actually underneath that mask, and I'm really interested to find out what is actually underneath that mask now, because now that they've established that that's a thing, they're gonna have to show it. And we get to see its eye. Which is like a proper human eye. It's like got the pupil and the iris inside, and the pupil on the outside, and it's got sort of like 3 stars that form around it, and it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool design, and it's sort of like playing with like this mystical quality. And again, it reminds me of truth. It reminds me of truth. This whole image of this person standing in front of this being, it reminds me of truth from Full Metal Alchemist, and that's one of the things that I really love about this. How it can remind me of certain aspects of series that I really did enjoy. So the creature goes on to say that what Emma is only seeing is visions and that she needs to come over for real and she needs to find entrance. And it seems like their speech is like sort of like distorted to give that illusion that it isn't a vision compared to the other speech bubbles that we have, where we have the normal speech. And it goes on to explain that Emma has the conclusion that this is the place of day and night, but the creature goes on to say there's nothing here but also everything, which just, well, this is actually getting really intense. Like, what does this actually mean? What do these riddles mean? And how will we find out more about this as we go on through the series? So the creature goes on to explain to Emma that the entrance is nowhere at all, but that's because it's just everywhere. But before Emma can ask the ultimate question, like, is it actually the demon god? It goes, come on then, we'll have such fun, and puts its arm out. And that's like getting me really worried about what's actually going to happen. Like, is this creature actually the demon god, or is it actually just messing with them? Is it actually one of its minions? Is that dragon the demon god? We don't actually know, and I'm just getting really creepy vibes now. It had a really warm, when we first entered this place, it had a really warm, comforting presence in my eyes. Like, it was just like, whoa, this is nice, but it's actually really intense and really unnerving at times, but it's still alright. And then when we see this, like, come and then we'll have such fun, it's like, whoa, okay, back off, what is actually going on here? So after this, Emma is still freaking out and she falls back and she falls on the ground, and everybody notices this and like, Emma, are you okay? Are you okay? And then she's like, did you see the dragon? Did you see it? What was it? And they're like, what dragon? What's going on, Emma? It like reminded me of the scene from the cutscene from Freelancer, particularly what Violet does when it's like, I'll explain the cutscene. Like, if you don't know what Freelancer is, it's this old simulation PC game, and it had the main character Edison Trent being in a daze, and then he was waking up, and his and the companion, the female protagonist, Junko saying, or Junie, she was like, hey, wake up, and she slapped him. And this is exactly what Violet does to Emma, and that just got me really reminding me of that scene and how much I really enjoyed that game. It's an old game. It's been I don't think people really remember it about, because it came out in 2003. God, it's like 15... God, that makes me feel old that I actually remember that game from 15 years ago. I used to play the shit out of that game. I loved it. I still play it to this day, and I play some of the mods, and it's really enjoyable. But I just really loved how it just that scene where Violet just slaps Emma to wake up just really reminded me of it. And again, it seems like that arrow or eye or whatever it was that Emma touched, it seems like that may be the only way that they can actually get into that place to actually discuss. Maybe that is the seven walls. Maybe they are at the seven walls right now. Like, those walls are the seven, or maybe the seven walls are all around them, like they're in different areas of the demon world, different edges of the demon world before they can actually get into human world. And there are areas on the walls where they have these owl things where you can actually get in to actually talk to the this creature that may or may not be the demon god. We don't know at this point. So anyway, as Emma is coming to the realisation in her mind, we see her run past the group and climb onto the ruins, and Gilda and everyone thinks that she's going to commit suicide. Like, don't do it, Emma, don't do it, Emma. And Violet's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it, please don't do it, Emma. And it's just like they're really panicking, but then we see what Emma is actually trying to get, and whether what she's trying to confirm with suspicions, and we get the area view of where they are actually, and it's in the shape of that eye that we saw on the wall that Emma actually touched. And again, this gives the impression of like I said just now, like this area is the seven walls, and you have to like you may have to perform a ritual to actually get in to the to the area that Emma was in. It's like not just be efficient, they have to get into there to real. Like again with former alchemists, like how they had to do an alchemy circle to actually get in to see truth. It may actually turn out that they'll have to do something similar, but they'll have to stand on top of the ruins to actually do this ritual, to actually open a portal to actually meet this demon thing, whatever it is. And it may actually be that that's the way to get to the seven walls. Like I said, this may actually be the seven walls, and they have to perform a ritual to actually get in to see this demon king, or if it actually is the demon king. So anyway, as Ray gets on the ruins with Emma, and he actually sees it as well, we see Emma saying to Ray, I saw visions of the past and the dragon. I saw the old Kuta de Velia, and the place where night and day become one. And I'm not sure yet, but I think I met the Demon King, and we see the pendant that Musica gave to Emma. And I didn't mention this in the Song Duo Musica video, I apologise for that, but come with some slack, that video was 45 minutes long. That was pretty much the longest video I've ever done. I was about to leave some stuff out, but yeah, that pendant that Musica gave Emma is like find the seven walls. That is like being referred to right now, and it's in the. And what we see inside the pendant is like the same sort of like design that was in the dragon's eye. So maybe this is a key as well. Like they'll have to collect several artifacts that have the symbol on it to actually get this ritual going. We don't know yet, but I feel like that's the way we're going to be going on with starting from now. So anyway, Emma goes on to say that these ruins and this pendant, they're about the same shape, and back then it was even close. But what does this mean? And then we get Emma still going on and saying, there lies a dragon upon Kafuta and nothing else is hidden from its eye. Maybe these structures are the eyes of the dragon. It must have been a very special place where they could come to get visions of things they wanted. Which, that's, again, and we see, like, what we saw in Emma's vision, we see these three demons actually praying in the same area with, like, a ritual, like a feast for this Demon King, and I feel like that's going to be something that's going to be brought up later. Like maybe that's key to why the demons are doing what they're doing. Like they're actually getting wishes from the demon god, but they have to sacrifice a child to, like a child's soul and a child's meat to this demon god in order to please it, in order to get this vision come true. I feel like that's another reason why they've actually been breeding and sacrificing kids to actually please this demon god. Like this. I feel like I'm not feeling that. I'm pretty sure that was established. Like they have to keep pleasing the demon god, and I feel like giving human meat, really high quality human meat to the demon god is actually something that they've been doing in this like sort of ritual style at this place, at this Kutava Delia place, and that's what's really interesting, how it's all tying back into place and all falling into place, and that is going to be brought up later, I'm guaranteeing of it. But anyway, Emma goes on to continue stating, but now it's not working anymore, except it did for me but no one else, which again just adds to the fact that do the others have to have a pendant, or do they have to be in certain areas to get this ritual activated to see this creature? Because like in Death Note, like only someone who touched Death Note could see the Shimigami. I feel like that will be something that has to be done similar here. Like they have to all be touching a pendant that has this symbol on it in order to see the vision that Emma saw and to get into seeing this Demon King. Emma continues to question was it because of this pendant that it stopped working? And she flashes back to when she first departed from Musica, and they say, look for the seven walls, and Emma questions, just what is this amulet? What's Musica really after? And maybe the reason why Minerva failed to find seven walls was because this place stopped working. And going back to what was said there about Musica, again, I feel like she and Songju are going to be potential allies, although it may be a bit of a grey area, like whether they really want to help out Emma's group. And I feel like that trust that they built up is going to come back and going to be really tested in later arcs. But seeing how Songju and Musica are being referenced a lot in recent chapters, I feel like they are going to make a return to the series full-time allies to help the kids out. But it's going to be a very shaky road, and whether or not they are actually going to trust each other is a matter up for debate at the moment. So anyway, Emma concludes by saying, no, I have no way of knowing that, but at least I can be sure of one thing. In my vision, there was a hint of how to reach that place, and she goes on to explain to the kids of what she actually saw and tells them in great detail. And then we see Don freaking out, as you would expect from Don. Even though I love Don's character and I love what they've been doing with him, he's been, like Emma, Ray and Norman and everyone, he's kind of been thrown into this, and he's kind of a bit nervous and a bit wary of the situation. But again, that just shows just how brave he is. Even though he's aware of it, he's still pulling through for it, even though it could potentially get him killed. And Sat goes on to say, anyway, since Emma has already seen the place of day and night, now they just have to find an entrance to it. And again, like I said, it might be something a bit more complicated than just simply go to this place, find this thing, we'll get there. As to questioning the meaning behind what the actual creature actually said, we get Ray saying, now it's time for us to return to the shelter. And at first I was like, oh my god, we're backtracking here. But Ray brings up an actual interesting point here. He says, you remember that temple-like building, right, with the golden water, just like Goldie Pond? And he says, let's regroup at the shelter and then go and take a look at that, which again, that actually makes a lot of sense. Like, if they can regroup and actually take a look at what at the resources that they actually have, maybe they can find a solution and find an entrance to this place and just add more clues to the mystery of the world. And Ray goes on to continue saying there are these ancient instructions to go 10 miles north, then east, and so on. Maybe that will bring out some leads to these riddles. And Ray is actually right. If they can actually decipher what these riddles actually mean, they may have a better shot of getting into this world to actually meet this creature. And if it is the Demon King, actually make a promise. Although, like I said, they are enemies of this creature at the moment, so we don't know what's going to happen when they actually do get to this creature, and whether or not they're actually all going to survive. Anyway, to start winding down the chapter, Emma goes on to say that if I can just find a way back into that place, I can remake the promise, and then all of us will have the future we hope for. This time it will work. And again, this shows just why Emma is the main character, because she just has this sense of hope and desire not to fail, whereas other characters in this situation, like Ray, Isabella and Hugo, have just given up. And even Norman had a sense of giving up at some point, or reaching out to way more impossible scenarios that Emma just wouldn't have gone along with, like sort of like keeping kids behind and lying behind them. I just don't think Emma would have done that. She is the ray and hope and backbone and glue that this series actually needs. And when I do actually discuss Emma's character eventually, I'm going to bring in up all these points and why I think she's one of the best protagonists that Shonen Jump have ever created. But of course, Emma says that they don't have much time, as they've already spent 3 months planning everything, and then it might take another 3 months in terms of getting the journey going again, and that's 6 months. So that's a year and a half that she has left to actually go back, get the kids, and get into human world. And like I said, this series, because we've had that time set stamp, I feel like this series is going to be around for a really long time, because even though it has been 6 months since the escape, I think it has been 6 months since the escape, or no, it's been 3 months since the escape. No, it's been 3 months since the escape, and 3 months, and everything that happened up until the fight with Lewis, that all took place within 3 months. And then Emma had 3 months to actually regroup and get everything back and get herself healed up and everything. And then this time now, that it's gonna have been 6 months since the whole start of the series. So it's only been 6 months, and we've had 101 chapters. So yeah, I feel like the series is going to be around for a long time, because there's still so much that we need to establish, and we've got a really solid time frame stamped on. And we see at the end of the chapter, we see the creature going, "Come then, come," very imposing and very mysterious. And then at the bottom of the page, we see next issue, the story transcends time. That gets me worried that there is going to be another time skip. I'm holding on to that fact that doesn't happen, but I'm preparing myself for that. Now that I've actually seen that, I'm worried that that's actually going to happen, that it's going to be another time skip, which again, if that's the case, and it's just to like really establish a lot of details, like planning and strategic, I feel like that is excusable, because then we can wait until we actually get into the meat of the series, and then we can flash back and find out exactly what they've actually been playing. That's what I've loved about this series so far, in the fact that we've not been bogged down with so much. We haven't spent like so many chapters just so many chapters since the escape just being like, okay, we're going to bog down, really plan out everything. It's we've had like a time skip, and then we've gone back and actually found out what has actually been going on and how it's actually helped them in this situation, which I feel like is the structure that they're going to go with from now on. Even though I love the prison break, I feel like if it was just strategic planning, it would have gotten boring. And I feel like this is a new direction that I feel like will benefit the series, to get that action, but also get that mystery and that suspense, and get those resolutions resolved through flashbacks. And we see at the bottom, next development awaits, don't miss the commemoration and illustration celebrating our 2 years. So yeah, It's been 2 years since the start of the series, and we've come a long way. We've had a lot of characters introduced, we've had some killed off, some that I've loved killed off, but anyway, we've had so much happening in the series, and like I said, this is one of the big series at the moment in Shonen Jump. Like in Super Patches Wolf video, this is number 2 at the moment, behind One Piece. I feel like once the anime comes out, if it's really good, it's going to be in the series for a really, really long time, and I'm really looking forward to this. I hope, like I said, minimum for me for the series to end will be 300 chapters, and I'm still standing by that because there's still so much that we don't know. I feel like if they play out the pace that they've been going with the series, if they really play out, really bog it down, it can end at 300, 350, if not that. But anyway, guys, that's the end of the chapter. I really enjoyed this chapter. I really thought we got a lot of information out of it. I didn't find it as interesting as the last chapter, but I found it just that slightly less interesting, but still really interesting. And I'm really looking forward to what they're planning out next and how they're actually going to get back into that world to find out what that creature actually is, if it is actually the god of this whole demon world. And I hope you guys like this, even though I wasn't showing the panels. I hope you really liked it this way, and I feel like if this keeps on going well, I feel like this can be the staple from now on, that I don't have to show panels, and it can get you guys to actually go and read the series and come back and tag along and find out what I'm talking about without me actually being taken down for copyright infringement. And guys, go and support Tensei Getsu and Tekken 101. They're really great people. Show your love and support for their channels because they need it. And like, subscribe, comment, share your thoughts on this series and what you think is going to happen next, and if that creature really is the demon god. And thank you guys, and I'll see you next time. This will be Lashaluk signing out. Peace.